I stepped inside my daughter-in-law's home and discovered a life-changing secret about my husband. As Mary entered Liz's charming home for Sunday dinner, her heart fluttered with anticipation, the aroma of roasted chicken wafting through the air and wrapping around her like a warm hug. Family chatter filled every corner, laughter bursting joyfully as children dashed through the living room. It was a scene reminiscent of a picture-perfect postcard, an American family gathering steeped in love and tradition. Yet beneath Mary's smile, a storm brewed. She often took comfort in the simplicity of her garden, the blooms reflecting her hard work, but tonight serenity felt out of reach. It was hard to ignore the fleeting glances between Jack and Liz. Their whispered laughs tugged at her heart, pricking something deep within, a painful seed of jealousy. Was this what Jack shared with her? Open affection, while she had toiled in silence over the years? As the family began to gather around the dinner table, Mary shuffled between the kitchen and living room, offering to help, but it was hard to focus. She caught snippets of Jack's words aimed at Liz. "You always know how to lighten the mood," he said, his eyes shining with admiration. An unsettling wave washed over her. Did Jack see Liz as a confidant in ways he had never respected her to be? She tried to shove away those thoughts, but they clawed at her insides. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The evening wore on, filled with delicious food and lively conversations, yet the tension had woven itself into the fabric of their gathering. As dessert was served, Mary's thoughts drifted back to the whispers. Pain laced through her like a dark thread. What lay behind those coy smiles? Overwhelmed, she slipped away to the guest room in search of a moment's respite. And then, beneath Liz's bed, she stumbled upon something that ignited curiosity and dread. A box tied with a faded ribbon. Inside, letters penned in Jack's familiar scrawl. Each letter spoke not only of admiration for Mary, but also of Jack's internal battles, the fear of not being enough, the struggle to express vulnerability. Torn between indignation and sadness, she felt exposed. How could Jack lay bare his heart to paper, yet leave her in the shadows? As Mary clutched the letters tightly, contemplating the unraveling of their marriage, she sensed the evening reaching a pivotal moment. Would she confront Jack, finally shatter the facade?
Or would she preserve their family's harmony, veiling grievances for the sake of tradition? The room echoed with laughter, but this night would forever alter their story. The weight of discovery pressed down as she wondered whether this secret would trigger reconciliation or draw further division. She could feel the heartache tightening around her chest, whispering a choice she had to make. Mary stood in the dim light of the guest room, the box resting in her lap like an anchor, pulling her beneath turbulent waves. The letters had ignited a firestorm of emotions within her, confusion, anger, and a heartbreaking sense of betrayal. As laughter floated through the walls, she felt an overwhelming urge to confront Jack, to demand an explanation for the hidden layers of their relationship and the chasm now yawning between them. Her hands trembled as she opened the first letter once more. "Dear Mary," it began, and she could almost hear Jack's voice reading it aloud. Each word dripped with nostalgia, painting a portrait of their life together, their hopes, dreams, and the love they had shared. But the words also revealed his fears, the worries he had kept from her, hidden behind a veil of masculine stoicism. Tears brimmed in her eyes. The realization struck her hard. Jack had been fighting battles she had never known. Instinctively, she had wanted to protect her heart, to shield herself from the sting of inadequacy that somehow festered beneath that perfect family image. Setting the letter aside, she took a deep breath. Maybe tonight wasn't just about unearthing secrets. Perhaps it was a moment of revelation, a chance for vulnerability to bubble to the surface. Could they bridge this growing gap by simply talking, by opening their hearts to each other? But what if Jack's connection with Liz was more profound than she realized? The thought twisted her stomach like a vice. Would sharing her own feelings only push him further into Liz's arms? With a heavy heart, Mary slipped the letters back into the box and made her way to the living room. She was determined to observe, to understand, before she made any rash decisions. The laughter was louder now, punctuated by the excitement of a playing child. Mary hesitated at the doorway, her heart pounding. Jack sat across the room, a bright smile gracing his face as he engaged Liz in light-hearted banter. There was something effortless about their connection, an intimacy that sent a surge of jealousy through her veins. As she watched, an unknown weight settled in her chest. Could she truly confront him? Just then, Liz caught Mary's eye and waved. The warmth of her smile was genuine, and it unmoored some of Mary's reservations. Perhaps all was not as it appeared. Perhaps there was a way to reconcile this misunderstanding without destroying the fabric of their family. Determined, Mary stepped into the living room, her voice trembling with hesitant courage. "Can we talk for a moment, Jack?"
She didn't miss the flicker of concern in his eyes as he looked up, a shadow crossing his face. The laughter behind them faded into a low hum as curious glances turned their way. There it was, the line drawn in the sand. This could be the moment everything changed. As they stepped towards the quiet balcony, Mary wasn't sure if she was ready for the truth or the confrontation that lay ahead. Her heart raced. What would she discover about him, about them? What if the words she longed to say unleashed a storm too powerful to contain? Before she could voice another thought, Jack spoke, his voice low and strained. "What is it, Mary?" Time seemed to stand still as she gathered her courage, grappling with weighty choices lingering in the air. In that charged moment, everything felt possible, and yet so fragile. Would they face the truth together, or take another step toward the unknowable? With unsteady breath, she shook her head, determination lit in her eyes. "We need to talk about us." And just like that, the stage was set for revelations that neither prepared for. In the quiet of that moment, the foundation of their lives hung in balance. What would the next chapter bring? Mary's heart pounded in her chest as she stepped outside with Jack. The world around them faded, the noise of laughter and clinking glasses swallowed by the swirling thoughts in her mind. She could feel the weight of Jack's gaze, measuring her, searching for answers that she couldn't yet give. "Mary," Jack said, a frown etching deeper lines on his forehead. "What is it, Mary? You seem off tonight." Off, the word hung in the air, blunt and accusatory, as if he could sense the storm brewing inside her. She swallowed hard, pushing past her fear. "I found some letters," she blurted out, the words rushing out like a waterfall. "Letters you wrote to Liz." His expression shifted, a mix of surprise and something else, something more guarded. Jack opened his mouth, but she held up a hand. She needed to say this all at once, raw and real. "They talk about things I didn't know, fears you kept from me, feelings that make it sound like there's more between you two than just friendship." Silence engulfed them. The distant sounds of the gathering began to seep back in, only amplifying the void between them. Jack looked away, his jaw tightening. "Mary, I can explain," his voice said, low and strained.
"Can you?" she shot back, wounded. "Can you really? Because I feel like I've been blind this whole time. I thought we were a team, Jack. I thought we shared everything." His eyes darted back to hers, and she saw a glimmer of regret. "We are a team, but I didn't want to burden you with my fears. I thought I was protecting you." "Protecting me?" Her voice cracked. "And how is lying to me protecting me?" Jack stepped forward, reaching for her hands. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I could handle it. I never meant to push you away."
"But you did." Mary's pulse raced, words spilling over like an uncontained river. "Every time you chose silence over sharing, you built a wall between us. And now it's like I don't even know you." He lowered his head in resignation, as if the weight of her words was too much to bear. "There's more to it, Mary. Liz is someone I confided in because I thought I was losing you. After everything, I didn't know how to bring it up." "Losing me?" The pain in her voice made her steady. "You were never losing me. We were just stuck. I wanted you to reach out, Jack." Tears threatened to spill over as the sincerity of her longing settled around them. She needed him to understand the depth of her hurt, not just to hear words, but to feel their meaning. "Just tell me the truth," she pleaded. "What is it that you truly feel for Liz? I need to know where we stand, Jack." For a moment he looked stricken, wrestling with his words as if they were a weight he couldn't lift. I don't love her like I love you, but I was confused, and when I saw you pull away—" His voice trailed off, and Mary felt that old familiar ache resurface, a chasm of fear creeping back in. "I can't bear the thought of losing you to someone else, Jack, not when we still have so much to work through." At that moment, the door behind them swung open once more. It was an invitation back to the noise of their life, but they lingered at the edge of a decision, a precipice that could either heal or shatter. "Let's go back inside," Jack suggested softly, but the uncertainty clung to them both like mist. "Not yet," Mary replied, her voice firm yet fragile. "We owe it to ourselves to understand this completely. We owe it to us." As the shadows of conflict loomed before them, the truth of their relationship dangled by a thread. Would they find a way to knit their hearts together, or would this moment be the beginning of the end? With the barrier of silence hovering over them, Mary knew they were standing at a crossroads. What would unfold under the weight of honesty? Would the bond they once cherished withstand the revelations to come? The moment hung in the air, thick with tension and unspoken fears. Mary could feel her heart racing, an audible reminder of the fragile state they found themselves in. She took a deep breath, her mind spinning with thoughts. "I need to know what you're feeling," she finally said, her voice steadier than she felt. "How can we move forward if I don't understand what's in your heart?" He ran a hand through his hair, the weight of her question apparent in his expression. "I don't want to lose you, Mary. I don't want to hurt you any more than I already have, but I also don't know how to fix this." "Fixing it starts with honesty," she insisted, almost pleading. "Tell me what Liz means to you, please." He hesitated, his eyes darting away like he was searching for words in the starlit sky above. "Liz, she understands me in a way that I thought I'd lost with you. During those dark times when you were distant, she became a listening ear. I didn't mean for it to go that far, I swear." "So it was always about filling a void?" Mary felt a swell of hurt and anger, but she fought to keep her voice steady. "What about me, Jack? What about the love we promised to share? Didn't you think to talk to me instead?" He closed his eyes, as if trying to block out his own guilt. "I was scared that if you knew how lost I felt, it would drive you further away. I thought if I kept quiet, maybe you wouldn't leave, but not once did I think it would hurt you more to keep it to myself." The air between them felt electric, but Mary could sense something shifting in him, a desire to reconnect. "I would have fought for us," she said softly. "I wish you'd seen that. I wouldn't have turned my back on you, Jack. I know that now." His voice cracked as he took a step closer. "I see how blind I've been. I see the pain I've caused, and I wish I could take it back." Tears slid down Mary's cheeks, their salty warmth mixing with the cool night air. "I don't just need you to admit your mistakes. I need to feel like we can be real together again. I don't want to just exist. I want the love we built back." Jack reached out, his fingers brushing against her arm, a hesitant touch that held promise and so many uncertainties. "I'll do anything to make this right. Just please, don't give up on me." Mary looked into his eyes, searching for the man she fell in love with, the man who made her laugh, who kept her warm on cold nights. She wanted to trust him, to let herself believe again, but the scars were too fresh. "You need to show me, Jack. Words aren't enough anymore." The moment was heavy, their breaths mingling in the space that had grown between them. She could see the flicker of determination in his gaze, but she also sensed the lingering doubts. "Let's take this one step at a time," he suggested, urgency in his tone. "Let's start by going back inside. Let everyone see we're in this together." Mary hesitated, torn. Did she want to face their friends and family, knowing how fragile everything was? But then she thought of the life they had built, the memories they had yet to create. "Okay," she said, resolve building inside her. "But we can't just ignore what happened. We need to keep talking." With that, they turned towards the door, hearts heavy with uncertainty, yet holding on to a flicker of hope. The laughter that echoed from inside was a reminder of the life they wanted back. But as they stepped forward, an unwelcome tension lingered. Mary paused at the doorway, her hand on the handle. "Jack." "Yes?" he asked, concern etching his features. "What if things don't change? What if we still end up drifting apart?" He swallowed hard, the shadow of fear crossing over his face. "Then we fight for us. No more hiding. We'll stand together no matter what."
As they stepped inside, the warmth of the gathering surrounded them, but Mary's heart felt heavy. Would their fight for each other be enough to conquer the shadows of the past, or were they merely walking into a storm waiting to break? The laughter and chatter continued, but Mary knew they were now navigating uncharted waters. What if, under the laughter, a deeper revelation awaited them? What if the connections they thought were safe were about to be tested in ways they never could have imagined? The lively chatter surrounded Mary like a warm blanket, but the warmth felt foreign. Jack placed his hand on her back, a gentle nudge toward the chaos inside. She gave a small nod, but her smile faltered. Could they really put on a brave face while the storm still raged inside her heart? As they moved into the living room, familiar faces turned toward them. Laughter filled the space, a comforting sound that reminded her of happier times. But today, it felt strained. She felt like an imposter, pretending everything was okay, when inside she was still grappling with the shards of trust that lay scattered between them. "Mary! Jack! You made it!" Sarah, their friend, called out, her face lighting up with genuine excitement. "We were just about to start the game. You two will join us, right?" Jack glanced at Mary, hope shining through his eyes. "Of course. We wouldn't miss it for the world," he said, his voice strong and confident, as if he was making a vow. Mary's heart sank. She wanted to join in, to put aside their problems for the night, but she knew there was a ticking clock on this fragile peace. What good would a game do when their relationship felt like it was perched on the edge of oblivion? "Let's go get some snacks first," Mary suggested, breaking away from the gathering. She needed a moment, a breath of space away from everybody's expected cheer. Jack followed her, his brows furrowed with concern. In the kitchen, the smell of popcorn wafted through the air. The mess on the counter reminded her of the times they used to cook together, blending ingredients to create something special. Now it felt like there was so much missing. "Are you okay?" Jack asked, leaning against the counter beside her, his voice softer now,
stripped of the bravado he wore in front of friends. "I know. I feel like I'm wearing a mask. I don't want to play pretend, especially not with you." "I get it," he said, stepping closer. "But I don't want to miss this chance to show everyone, to show you, that we're in this together." "But what are we really in? If we can't talk about Liz, how do we move forward?" The lump in her throat grew, the weight of uncertainty almost unbearable. "I swear—" "Swearing isn't enough, Jack," she interrupted, her frustration spilling over. "I need to feel it in my bones. I need to know that you're all in this time."
He studied her, the frustration fading from his face, replaced by something deeper, more vulnerable. "I'm trying, Mary. I'm so scared that I'll mess this up again, but I want to be the person you deserve." The desperation in his eyes tugged at her heart, and the air grew thick between them. Maybe she could find a way to trust him again, but could he truly do what it takes to prove himself? Taking a shaky breath, she stepped back, breaking the intensity. "Let's just get through the night," she said. "We can figure things out later." Jack nodded, but the uncertainty lingered in his eyes as they stepped back into the fray. Laughter bubbled up again, but Mary could feel the ghost of their troubles stalking them. Unresolved questions crowded her mind. As they joined their friends, tossing awkward grins and trying to fit into the rhythm of normalcy, a cold wave washed over her. Was she ready to face the fiercest storm of their lives, or would the hidden truths they buried threaten to unravel them all over again? Just as the game began and the laughter took over, Mary overheard a whispered conversation that sent chills down her spine. "Did you hear about Sarah's parents? There's something about their marriage that's not quite right." Those words cut through the noise, a stark reminder that beneath the laughter, everyone carried their own storms. She turned to Jack, looking for solace, but it was the echoes of secrets that loomed larger around them. Would theirs be the next marriage to unravel under pressure? Mary felt the laughter wash over her, but it was like waves crashing against a rocky shore, leaving her heart untouched by joy. She forced a smile as Jack squeezed her hand, but her mind was a whirlwind of doubt. Had they really mended the few threads that held them together, or was it all an illusion, a fragile facade? They sat on the edge of a crowded couch, the sound of playful banter vibrating in the air. Mary tried to focus on the game, the faces of her friends lit with joy, but the reality of her relationship lingered like a heavy fog. Every round of the game seemed to echo the cracks in her heart. She needed a distraction, some sign that everything wouldn't fall apart the moment they returned home. Jack leaned over, whispering, "You okay?" His breath brushed against her ear, warm and familiar. She met his gaze, searching for reassurance, but found only uncertainty mirroring her own. "Do you want to talk about Liz?" he asked, his voice tentative. "Not here," Mary replied, shaking her head. "Not now. I can't do this in front of everyone." He nodded, his worry knotting his brow, but he respected her wish, at least for now. They both let the distraction of the game pull them from the precipice they teetered on, but Mary felt the undercurrent of tension. She could see Jack trying hard to engage, laughing a little too loudly, but she couldn't shake the feeling that everyone, including them, was merely performing. After a few rounds, Sarah suggested a break for drinks. "Let's keep this party going," she exclaimed, clapping her hands together. As everyone began to mingle, Mary seized the moment to step into the kitchen again, desperate for a reprieve from the laughter. She filled a glass with water, her hands trembling slightly. Her reflection in the glass showed the struggle behind her smile. She wanted to be happy. She wanted to feel light, but the weight of unresolved feelings clung to her. Jack appeared in the doorway, his expression serious. "Mary, please, let's talk, just for a minute." She turned to him, the tightness in her chest returning. "Can't we just enjoy the night, Jack? We'll talk later, I promise." But deep down, she knew postponing the conversation wouldn't help. It felt like leaving the door to a storm ajar. "Mary," he stepped closer, lowering his voice, "I can't keep pretending everything's okay. I need you to meet me halfway." His sincerity pierced her defenses. "What if I'm not ready, Jack?" she whispered, her voice quivering. "What if halfway isn't enough?" Silence hung between them, heavy and charged, the sounds from the party a distant echo. For a moment, everything else faded away. It was just the two of them, trapped in a cycle of hope and despair. "Then we figure it out, together," Jack insisted, his gaze locking with hers, as if daring her to turn away. "I love you, and I want us to fight for this, even if it means tackling the hardest conversations." Mary's heart pounded. Could she truly see beyond the scars of betrayal? Could she trust him to not repeat the past? But just as she was about to respond, Sarah's laughter erupted from the living room like a shot, drawing them back into the fray. With a shaky breath, Mary straightened up, shaking off the weight of their conversation. "Let's go back," she said, the decision to face the lively crowd weighing heavily on her. "We'll figure it out later." They returned to the living room, but the unease lingered, swirling amongst the laughter, as uncertainty draped over them like a thick blanket. Just when she thought it might lift, another whispered conversation caught her ear, words that sent another chill down her spine. "I heard they might separate. Can you believe it?" Mary turned to Jack, her heart racing. Was it possible their struggles weren't as unique as they thought? Was every couple here facing their own storm? What if their night of laughter was just a cover for deeper issues? Looking into Jack's eyes, she felt the tremors of an approaching tempest. Could they really withstand the trials ahead? Or would they too become just another whispered secret in a room full of hidden struggles? The night had just begun, but Mary could sense the deeper revelations lurking closer than ever. The energy in the room pulsed with an intensity Mary couldn't ignore.
The laughter that just moments ago felt so hollow now surrounded her, each chuckle a reminder of the questions twisting in her soul. Jack's hand felt heavier in hers, a weight that both anchored and suffocated her. "Come on, Mary, we're playing charades." Sarah's enthusiastic call pulled her attention, forcing a smile back to her lips. A part of her wanted to join in, to lose herself in the silly competition, but the other part whispered the truth that felt more tangible, more urgent. As she stepped away from the kitchen and into the swirl of her friends, the tension in her chest grew tighter. She watched Sarah act out something ridiculous, her movements exaggerated and playful, prompting a chorus of applause and laughter. Mary tried to mirror that joy, clapping with everyone else, but her mind drifted back to the conversation she had with Jack. "What if I'm not ready?" echoed in her thoughts, each word a reminder of the walls she'd built around her heart. "Your turn," one of the guys called out, snapping Mary back to reality. Despite the anticipation rippling through the crowd, she hesitated, feeling like she had forgotten how to play. She glanced at Jack, who was standing at the edge of the group, watching her with eyes full of hope, hope that seemed so distant to her now. "Fine, I'll give it a go," she finally said, forcing the words through her tight throat. Stepping forward, she started mimicking what she thought were playful gestures. She barely registered the laughter, feeling herself drift away from the reality around her. Then, in a moment of clarity, she locked eyes with Jack. His smile radiated warmth, and for an instant it felt like the chaos of the night evaporated. It was just the two of them, holding on to a thread of connection amidst the noise. Mary didn't even notice when she stammered into the act, revealing more than she intended. "I'm trying to show how lost I feel," she laughed awkwardly, her voice almost breaking. Her honesty clipped the light-hearted atmosphere. A small silence followed before a gentle ripple of laughter resumed, but it felt different now, more real, more vulnerable. "Okay, big reveal," she called out, laughing it off, trying to reclaim the moment. The others quickly joined back in, but Mary's heart raced with uncertainty. Did they see her struggle? Was she somehow exposing the cracks in her facade?
As the game continued, Mary watched Jack engage with their friends, and it struck her how desperately she wanted to capture that easy laughter and joy. But then, doubts washed back in, heavy and dark. Suddenly, Sarah whipped around, a playful glint in her eye, and declared, "All right, who's next?" Jack glanced at Mary, a silent invitation to join him in that moment, a heartbeat of connection that cut through her doubts. Yet, just as she was about to take a step forward, the muted sound of a phone buzzing interrupted the crowd. "Guess that's my cue," Sarah said, grabbing her phone. "It's Mom. I'll be right back."
The tension returned like a distant storm about to unleash itself. Mary's gaze followed Sarah into the hallway, and in that moment she felt a chill run down her spine. There were conversations happening in whispers that felt too much like her own reality, a microcosm of every unspoken discomfort surrounding them. "What was that about?" Jack asked, his brow furrowing slightly, pulling her back with a soft murmur. She swallowed hard, a lump forming in her throat. I think all of us are hiding something," she confessed, the words flowing out before she could stop them. "What if we're all just pretending to be okay?" Jack's eyes widened, and for a moment they were both suspended in recognition of their shared fears. The laughter faded around them, replaced by the breathing pause of uncertainty. As her mind raced with everything that was at stake, Mary stepped back, holding on to the space, realizing that they weren't the only ones struggling. What if their secrets were woven into the fabric of this gathering, weakening the very foundation they were standing on? Just then, Sarah's voice echoed from down the hall. "Oh no, you're kidding me." The reality of the situation settled in like a lead weight in Mary's stomach. What if the revelations looming that night were about to change everything? The crowd shifted, glancing toward the hallway, confusion now replacing joy. With dread creeping in, Mary could feel the storm approaching. What would it mean for Jack and her? And was the truth finally clawing its way to the surface? The energy shifted in the room, morphing from playful excitement to a stifling tension. Mary felt it like a thick fog settling over everyone. She exchanged a glance with Jack, whose expression mirrored her anxiety. Their connection, once warm and reassuring, felt strained as they both sensed the weight of unspoken truths in the air. Sarah's voice grew louder as she rushed back into the living room, her face flushed. "I can't believe it! My mom! She's in the hospital!" she blurted out, eyes wide. The laughter died, replaced by a dense silence. Mary's heart sank. The thought of Sarah's mother, who had always been so vibrant and full of life, struck a nerve. Just as she began to process that news, another voice cut through. It was Mark, a mutual friend, who seemed oblivious to the change in mood. "Wait, are we still playing? Come on, let's keep it fun." His cheerful suggestion landed flat. Mary saw the hurt etching itself into Sarah's face, which only deepened her discomfort. "I think maybe we should check in with Sarah," Jack said quietly, his eyes darting between their group and Sarah, whose shoulders slumped as though carrying the weight of the world. Mary nodded, but felt a turmoil brewing inside her. She could hardly breathe, realizing how fragile their facade truly was. Everyone had secrets. There were cracks in their smiles hard to ignore. What if tonight was meant to peel back those layers?
"Hey, I'll help you drop off some snacks for your family," Mary suggested to Sarah, her voice barely above a whisper. The offer seemed to ease some of Sarah's tension. "Thanks, Mary," she replied, her eyes glistening. "I appreciate it." As Mary grabbed her coat, Jack moved to follow her. "I'll come too," he said, stepping closer. The warmth of his hand on her back sent ripples of comfort through her. Would they find solace outside these walls, away from the laughter that felt increasingly burdensome? In the car, silence enveloped them, punctuated only by the soft hum of music. Mary's mind raced, wrestling with the emotions clawing for attention. What if this is just the tip of the iceberg?" she murmured, glancing at Jack. "What if there are more secrets we don't know?" Jack turned to her, his eyes serious. Do you think we should talk about it? About us?" The solidity in his tone brought her heart to a standstill. "I don't know," she admitted. grappling with anxiety. "I don't know if I'm ready." They pulled into the hospital parking lot, casting a shadow over their fears, as Mary could already see the tension lining Sarah's features as they stepped into the building. The sterile smell mingled with the overwhelming sense of worry that lingered in the air. "Let's be there for her," Jack whispered, giving her a hand squeeze. With a shaky breath, they entered the hospital room where Sarah's mom lay. As the door opened, the sight was jarring. The vibrant woman they all knew appeared so frail, almost swallowed by the white sheets and machines. "Mom!" Sarah's voice broke, and Mary's heart ached as she stepped back, instinctively grasping Jack's hand tighter. In that moment, she felt the pain and fear seep into the cracks of her own heart, every uncertainty echoing back to her. What if the revelations weren't just about Sarah's family? What did they mean for her and Jack, for them as a couple? Suddenly, the door swung open again. The doctor entered with a serious look, and Mary braced herself for what was coming. The heaviness settled deeper into her chest. Change was here, and it was looming faster than she was prepared for. As the doctor began to speak, Mary felt the walls closing in around her, even amidst the chaos of the hospital room. Would they all be able to emerge from this stronger, or would the secrets they'd been hiding crush them? The moment hung there, charged with the weight of what was unsaid. Everything was about to spiral. What truth would unfold next? The doctor cleared his throat, and everyone's eyes swung to him like a pendulum. "I'm afraid we have some challenging news," he said, his voice steady but thick with gravity. Mary's heart raced, pounding like a drum in her ears. The sterile light above them flickered, illuminating the anxious faces of Sarah and her family. "Your mother is stable, but she will require surgery. There are complications we need to address."
The surgery is necessary, but there are risks involved. A collective gasp echoed through the room. Sarah turned pale, her expression reflecting pure fear. Mary felt a surge of empathy wash over her. She had never faced a situation quite like this, yet the rawness of Sarah's pain pulled at something deep inside her. Can we see her before the surgery?" Sarah asked, her voice coming out in a whisper. "I need her to know I'm here." "Of course," the doctor replied, and his expression softened. "Take your time." As he stepped out, Sarah's whole demeanor seemed to crumble. Jack squeezed Mary's hand tighter, silently supporting her as she moved closer to Sarah, who was now trembling. "Hey," Mary began softly, stepping into Sarah's halo of uncertainty. "Your mom's strong. She'll pull through this. We just need to stay positive." Tears glimmered in Sarah's eyes. "How can I be positive when she might never be the same again?" The question hung heavy in the air. Jack cleared his throat, stepping forward as if he needed to bridge the gap between their fears. "Sarah, I know it seems dark right now, but we're all here for you. Whatever happens, you're not alone." Mary could see Sarah slowly starting to breathe again, even if just a little. She was grateful for Jack's calm presence. It made her feel like they could face this together. The atmosphere shifted again, charged with unspoken truths as they prepared to face her mother. They stepped into the hospital room, where Sarah's mother lay, eyes fluttering slightly. The sight of this cherished woman, even reduced by the weight of her illness, made it clear how precious life was. "Mom?" Sarah's voice became steady as she leaned over, brushing a hair from her mother's forehead. "It's me. I'm here." There was an aching tenderness as she spoke, filled with a mix of hope and fear. Mary observed, her heart aching for Sarah, but also for herself. This was more than just about Sarah's family. It was an alarming reminder of fragility, of all the questions and secrets lurking in her own life. As they stood in the hospital room, Mary could feel Jack's presence beside her. She squeezed his hand, and for a moment she found the strength to confront her own turmoil. What if they were hiding from their truth like Sarah's mom was hiding from her illness?
In that quiet hospital room, laughter felt like a distant memory. The silence tied them together, bursting with raw emotion and unasked questions. Suddenly, a rustle from the corner of the room drew their attention. Sarah's father entered, a look of concern etched on his face. He glanced at everyone, and then directly at Sarah. "I just got off the phone. We need to talk." The weight in the air shifted again, morphing to something hard and unyielding. As Sarah turned to her dad, Mary's stomach twisted. What could they possibly need to talk about now? Jack's hand slipped from hers as he took a step back, his expression mirroring her own uncertainty.
The world that felt so fragile just moments ago seemed to crack once more. What revelation loomed on the horizon, threatening to shake them all to their core? The tension in the room crackled with unspoken fears as Sarah's dad stepped further inside. "I heard from the doctors," he started, his voice low and serious. "We need to prepare for the worst. They're saying the surgery might not go as planned." "No!" Sarah's voice was a strangled cry, the emotional weight crashing down like a wave. Mary felt Jack move closer, concern etched on his face, reflecting her own anxiety. The room felt so small then, walls closing in, emotions spilling over everywhere. "Dad, don't say that. She's going to be fine," Sarah protested, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mary's heart ached fiercely. It hurt to see someone she loved so much in such despair. What they feared was not just about the woman in the bed, but what that loss could mean for their lives. "Not if we don't prepare ourselves," he countered simply, his voice heavy with resignation. "We can't be blind to what's happening." A suffocating silence enveloped the room. Mary shared a quick glance with Jack. They both understood this was not just Sarah's battle, but also a profound reminder of mortality, of all their hidden fears that lurked beneath the surface. And then, unexpectedly, Mary felt an urge swelling within her. This moment couldn't just be about fear. No, it had to be about connection, about the courage to stand together. She took a deep breath, feeling a warmth growing as she gathered the courage to voice her own uncertainty. "Sarah," she said gently, stepping forward, "I know this is incredibly hard, but we can't let fear take away your chance to say everything you want to say to your mom. It's okay to be scared, but it's also okay to express your love, to tell her what she means to you." Sarah met her gaze, anguish and love colliding within her. "But what if it's not enough? What if I never get that chance again?" Mary felt a crack of vulnerability in her own heart. "Then believe that it is enough. Imagine how her heart will soar hearing your words. You confessing your love could be the lifeline she needs." Jack stepped forward, nodding in agreement, his presence firm. "We're all here for you, Sarah. Whatever happens, we will face it together." She blinked, fresh tears shimmering before resolve tightened around her heart. Sarah nodded, but still lingered in uncertainty. Reluctantly, they all turned back to Sarah's mom, the room falling into hushed reverence. "Mom," Sarah began, her voice wavering but gaining strength, "I'm here. You're not alone. I need you to fight for me, for us. You are our anchor, and we're going to get through this together." With every word, Mary could feel the tension lifting ever so slightly. Sarah's vulnerability unveiled something anew. It was the light of hope crackling against shadows.
As Sarah leaned into her mom, clinging tight, they began to speak words that danced on the edges of love and fear. "Remember our trips to the beach? We'll do that again." Those words hung in the air, transforming the sterile room into a sanctuary of memories and warmth. Mary watched and felt a strange shift within herself. Perhaps there was a way to confront the hidden shadows in her own life, a way to step outside the silence.
As the moments unfolded, relieved laughter began creeping back, mingling softly with the tears and the love. "You owe me a cup of coffee when you recover, okay?" Sarah quipped, nudging her mom slightly. It was just the right fragment of humor that eased the rawness in the air. With the barriers shivering, Mary turned toward Jack, wanting so much to share this uncharted territory of emotions. "We can't pretend things are easy," she whispered. "We need to sit down. It's time." Jack nodded, his expression resolute. "Now feels like the right time to be real." As they all sat in the room, a profound sense of solidarity enveloped them. Sarah's voice wrapped around the air like a blanket, reaching toward the walls, reminding everyone that connection was what truly mattered. It was then that Mary felt a wave of clarity wash over her. They couldn't hide from their own conversations any longer, no more letting vulnerability sit dormant. The door opened softly, and the doctor stepped back in. "We'll be starting prep for the surgery in a few minutes," he announced. An air of anxious anticipation filled the room once again. "Let's make this count," Mary murmured beneath her breath, squeezing Jack's hand tighter, and he responded in turn. They had to face what lay ahead, not just for them, but for everyone standing beside them. As Sarah's mom squeezed her daughter's hand, they faced the uncertain future as a family, ready to embrace the beautiful and painful chaos of life together. In that moment, Mary knew they were all rewriting their stories, not just with words, but with love, courage, and the determination to dive deep into the heart of their truths. And somewhere within her, the echoes of hope began to rise again, pushing back against the shadows. It was a moment, a whisper of promise to themselves that no matter the outcome, they would do this as one, prepared to tackle the weight of everything together. Just as Sarah's laughter blended with tears, Mary felt the warmth of their connection overwhelm her. Later, stepping back into the light, she leaned into Jack's shoulder, and it felt like the dawn of a new beginning. It was time to embrace love in all its forms. And as they held on to each other, the world outside felt a little less daunting, knowing together they could face whatever storms awaited. Now, this is your moment. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support.
Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Your voice matters.